When we began this effort to bring Corki home, we imagined bringing her to a place where she would stay temporarily and be fed and looked after and learn how to catch live fish again, and then ultimately rejoin her family grid. I was working at the Vancouver Aquarium. The aquarium, of course, was...
So if you can't tell by now, you probably realized it's kind of stupid to try and release Corki. If you know anything, I will leave a link down to that little thing I just showed. But Peta's about to kill Corki. Yeah, so I'm going to report on it. It is dumb to release animals that have been in captivity for too long. Oh boy, can't wait to see this.
Very early on involved in the captive industry, and I was hired, I guess, as a scientist to, I don't know, legitimize what was going on. Then in 1969, I went up to Peta Harbor where the captures had taken place, and there were a group of orcas that were surrounded by nets.
Wow, it's almost like the same thing can happen again. Yeah, it will happen again and again. You just proved another point why it's a bad idea to put her out in the wild. She will not see these as a threat. She will go near these people and get killed. It doesn't take rocket science to see this coming.
Corki was involved in that capture. I saw Corki taken away in slings out of the water and put on the back of trucks. Corki ultimately was flown to Los Angeles and taken to a place called Marineland of the Pacific. The capture really provoked my interest in orcas in the wild. I wanted to know more about them. And we landed here in June 1970 with a small group of people, a kind of little expedition, I guess. Nearby there was a cliff we could observe from, and there was enough deep water we could put a hydrophone in. We built a little tree house. We put a bunch of equipment that we used to monitor the hydrophone, and we started watching from the shore. That's how we found this place. It didn't take too long for us to realize that we were actually seeing the same individuals. We started to understand that these whales lived in groups, and then
this is another good reason why she won't survive in the wild. She won't know how to act out in the wild with these. She won't be able to find groups. She will practically be an invert to them. She will not know how to react to them. This could cause even more problems, making her alone, which will decrease her chances of survival. You can try and train her all you want, but she will still be an invert to them.
There was the A5 pod, and the A5 pod included Corki's mum. If you go back to Peta Harbor, at that capture, a number of the whales were taken, and some were released. Among the whales released was Corki's mum. So she continued to have babies. And in fact, 2 of her offspring are here right now, here, literally today. We have a really long continuity since that time in the 1970s of being able to follow Corki's family. She's been in captivity for most of her life. She's probably 51 years old now. And for 47 of those years, she's been away from the ocean and in a tank. So what we have been working with is the idea of a retirement facility. And there's in fact a perfect place just around the corner from us, in which there's a bay that has some little islands at the front of it, which could be blocked off, and barriers created that would prevent her from getting out. But it's also directly accessible to Blackfish Sound, where her family often comes. So she'd have an opportunity there, we think, to at least communicate acoustically with.
Do I even need to explain this? Why this is a bad idea? It all sounds good in perspective. It will not work. I can tell you right from the get-go. I have seen this type of project so many times, so many articles, and I have seen it go horribly wrong too many times to know that this will not work. Just look up articles about why these won't work. I'm not even going to explain it. It's just too much of a hassle. It won't work. Too many reasons why.
Their family. There are the calls. There's the dialects. There's the language, if you will, that is still common between them.
And there's Fife and Ripple, right, who are
Exactly.
offspring of her mother. So
That's right,
siblings.
her brother and sister.
Right.
So when they call, she'll hear them.
She'll hear them.
There's no question that Corki will recognize the sounds made by the A5 pod. When we were very actively campaigning for Corki in the 90s, there was a film crew from Primetime Live. We gave them a tape recording of Corki's pod, and they took it to SeaWorld and played the sounds of Corki's family to her. And there was no question about her reaction. Her whole body started to shake when she heard the sounds of her family. It was a profound moment.
Or, hear me out, she thinks it's other playmates that are going to play with her. Yeah, it probably just like that, other playmates, friends. She's probably not thinking about family. She's probably thinking that new people are going to join her.
You can see how large this space is. It has significant water depths, but it also has very far reaches and shallow depths and muddy bottom and so forth. I think it's vital that this move for Corki happens soon. For one thing, she's the oldest orca in captivity, so we don't know how long she's going to live.
Probably not that much longer if she was kept in captivity, I know captivity is not good and all, but, you could release her into that rehabilitation, let her spend out her rest of her days there, instead of trying to release her into the ocean where she'll obviously die even sooner. Like you said, her family comes there to visit often, so who said she can't meet them now and then?
We don't know how long it's going to be before she takes her last breath and drops to the bottom of that tank in SeaWorld. It could happen any time. There's a real urgency to doing this soon, now, really. And I think we have a real opportunity in Double Bay. The owners are willing, even enthusiastic, about it being used as a retirement home for Corki. All we need is SeaWorld's nod, and it could happen. SeaWorld's in such trouble at this point in terms of numbers, stock market, all of those things that make a business thrive are obstacles for SeaWorld at this point. And I just think that if they get actively involved in bringing Corki home and delight people around the world in what they're doing, their fortunes will rise. If I could sit down with Joel Manby, I would say to him that he has a fantastic opportunity to do something right after all these years of doing things that are actually quite bad for orcas. SeaWorld's got a real chance to do something great, wonderful for one of them. I feel optimistic, mostly because public perceptions have changed so much. It's literally impossible for the captive industry to continue indefinitely in a way.
I hate this so much because I know the people that buy those signs are the same people who buy the damn plushies and shit and say it's help supporting, Corki. I know for a fact it's the same type of people. And they're not helping. It's probably not helping at all.
That it has. These are captive orcas. They have families in the wild that they come from. They are totally deprived of the most important element of their perceptual life, which is sound. They are involved in a shabby business that exists solely to make money. I think what I'd like to say about Corki is that she's alive. She's still alive, so she still has a chance. And I just think that SeaWorld should give her that chance and that she should come home.
Yeah, because Peta doesn't do the same thing either. Wow, the irony in that. The only reason I'm talking about this video about 5 years later is because Peta is re-advertising the ever-living shit out of this video on YouTube. It is being advertised everywhere, and it is annoying the hell out of me because I just want to watch a goddamn video about a puppy, and this comes on, it's like, your good Corki's gonna die if you don't give us money. Like, no one cares, honestly. Just no one cares. It's not gonna kill them if they're in captivity or anything. It's probably best that she is still in there, because she will not live any longer. I can tell you that. Plus, I've already read the stories about her family dying.